Most people think they know what to do during an earthquake.
Hide under a table.
Stay away from windows.
Wait for it to stop.
Simple. At least, that's what most people imagine.
But major earthquakes are different.
Because when the ground starts moving hard enough, the rules of your world begin to disappear.
Buildings become traps. Roads become obstacles.
Electricity vanishes.
Water stops flowing.
And the people around you suddenly have no idea what happens next.
If a major earthquake struck your city tomorrow,
Could you survive?
the answer depends on something most people never think about. Because the earthquake itself is often only the beginning. Let's start with the first few seconds. Imagine you're sitting at home. Maybe you're eating dinner, watching television, checking your phone. Then you hear something strange, a low rumble.
At first, it sounds distant,
Like a truck passing outside. Then the floor vibrates.
the glass on your table begins to shake.
The walls creak. And before your brain fully understands what's happening, the entire building lurches sideways. This is the moment most people panic. Not because they're injured, because their brain has never experienced the ground itself moving. For your entire life, the earth has been the one thing that never moves. Now it is. And your instincts have no idea how to handle it. Psychologists call this cognitive freezing. When something completely unexpected happens, the brain temporarily stops making decisions. People stand still. They stare. They waste precious seconds trying to understand what's happening. During major earthquakes, those seconds matter. Because the strongest shaking often arrives after the first warning signs, the rumbling grows louder. The floor begins jumping beneath your feet. Furniture slides across rooms. Books fly from shelves. Windows explode. Standing becomes difficult. In the largest earthquakes ever recorded, people have described feeling like they were trying to walk on the deck of a ship during a violent storm. Only the storm is happening beneath them. And this is where movies often get it wrong. Most earthquake deaths are not caused by giant cracks opening in the ground. They're caused by things falling. Ceilings, walls, glass, concrete. Everything around you suddenly becomes a potential projectile. Your brain wants to run, but running is often the wrong choice. Many people are injured trying to reach exits while the shaking is still happening. Staircases become dangerous. Hallways fill with debris. Objects fall from every direction. For most people indoors, survival depends on staying protected until the shaking ends. But surviving the shaking is only phase one, because now comes the part most people never prepare for: silence. The shaking stops. Dust hangs in the air. Car alarms scream outside. People begin yelling. Dogs bark. Somewhere nearby, glass continues falling. And then a realization starts spreading through the city. The earthquake is over. But normal life isn't coming back anytime soon. Electricity disappears. Traffic lights stop working. Cell towers become overloaded. Water pipes rupture beneath streets. In modern cities, almost everything depends on invisible systems, and earthquakes are exceptionally good at breaking them. Most people discover this within the first hour. You reach for your phone, no signal. You try calling family, nothing. The internet stops working. Information disappears. And humans hate uncertainty. For most of history, uncertainty meant danger. If you didn't know where your family was, whether predators were nearby, or where food would come from, your chances of survival dropped dramatically. That ancient fear still exists inside you, which is why confusion spreads so quickly after disasters. People rush into the streets. Rumors spread faster than facts. Everyone is looking for answers. Almost nobody has them. Then comes something many survivors describe as the most unsettling part of all: the aftershocks. A major earthquake rarely arrives alone. The earth continues adjusting. Minutes later, another tremor hits, then another, and another. Some are small, some are powerful. You never know which one is coming next. This creates a psychological effect similar to what researchers see in unpredictable threats. Your nervous system never relaxes. Every vibration feels dangerous. Every noise feels suspicious. A truck passing outside, a door slamming, a shelf creaking. Your brain starts preparing for another disaster. Again and again. Sometimes for days, sometimes for months. After major earthquakes, many survivors report sleeping poorly long after the event ends. Not because the danger is still present, because their brain no longer trusts the ground. And that's a strange thing to lose. Trust in the earth itself. But earthquakes don't just challenge psychology, they challenge biology. Because within a day, another problem begins to emerge: water. A healthy person can survive weeks without food, but only days without water.
After large earthquakes, damaged pipes can leave entire neighborhoods without clean drinking water.
At first, this doesn't seem serious. Most people have bottles, a few drinks in the refrigerator, maybe some stored supplies, but cities contain millions of people, and those supplies disappear quickly. Stores run out. Delivery trucks stop arriving. Infrastructure struggles to recover. Throughout history, access to clean water has often become one of the most important survival factors after major disasters. Then food becomes a problem. Not immediately, but soon. Modern supermarkets look permanent. They aren't. Most stores only contain enough food for a few days. They depend on constant deliveries. When roads are damaged, bridges collapse, and transportation slows, those deliveries stop. Suddenly, people begin noticing how dependent modern life really is. Your ancestors understood exactly where food came from. You probably don't. Most people never need to, until a disaster interrupts the system. And that's when another ancient survival mechanism activates: cooperation. Movies often portray disasters as instant chaos, people fighting over resources, civilization collapsing. But real disasters frequently reveal something else: humans helping humans. Researchers studying earthquakes, hurricanes, and other catastrophes have repeatedly found the same pattern. Most people cooperate. Neighbors check on neighbors. Strangers rescue strangers. Communities organize food distribution. Families share supplies. For hundreds of thousands of years, human survival depended on groups, not individuals. The lone survivor is mostly a Hollywood fantasy. Your ancestors survived because they worked together. And after major disasters, people often rediscover that instinct surprisingly quickly. Which brings us to the final question. Could you survive a major earthquake? Probably, at least the shaking itself. Most people do, but surviving isn't really the interesting part. The interesting part is what the earthquake reveals. It reveals how fragile normal life actually is. The lights, the water, the roads, the internet, the systems you depend on every day without noticing, all of them can disappear in minutes. And beneath those systems, beneath the technology, beneath the modern world, the same human being still exists. The same nervous system, the same instincts, the same ancient brain that helped your ancestors survive droughts, storms, predators, and disasters long before cities ever existed. Because earthquakes don't create vulnerability, they expose it. They remind us that control is often an illusion, that certainty can vanish without warning, and that survival has never depended entirely on buildings, machines, or technology. It depends on something much older. Adaptation always has, and always will. Because when the ground beneath your feet suddenly begins to move, the most important survival tool isn't strength. It isn't speed. It isn't luck. It's the ability to stay calm long enough to think. And in a major earthquake, that may be the difference between becoming another victim and becoming a survivor.